17 of the 30-day yoga challenge, or restorative class. We're doing restorative this evening, so we'll be doing about 40 minutes worth of restorative work, poses which we hold a little bit longer than normal. Say, for example, not normal, but for example, your vinyasa or your power styles. So what you will need this evening is a bolster, or the bolster equivalent, slowing down the body and just focusing on yourself, giving back to yourself. So let's make a start. So coming onto our mats, and we're going to bring the bolster underneath the knees. You can also take a pillow underneath the head. That can feel quite nice as well, just to give you a little bit of support. But we're coming down with the blanket maybe for a bit of support under the head, and then laying down. So here we want the legs and feet wider than hip width distance apart, and the arms down beside you with the palms facing up. And then closing down the eyes here, and just spend a few moments arriving, pausing, finding your space on your mat. So if you need to make any little adjustments, any fidgets to get yourself as comfortable as possible, then now is the time to do so. And as you're laying here, just think about how the body is feeling physically. Perhaps you have been working today, working this week from home. Maybe you don't have a desk set up for your posture, for your body. Maybe you've been teaching the kids and you've been doing various activities in the garden. Maybe you've been gardening, as this weather has just been glorious this week. So just scan the body, noticing where you're feeling any tension, any tightness physically. And imagine yourself that you're melting away. So melting the body down. So I like to start from my feet and scan upwards, but some of you may want to start at the head, scan downwards. There's no right or wrong here. Find what works for you. And just scan the body of anything that no longer serves you. So whether you have neck tension, hip tension, shoulder tension, you're holding stiffness through the ankles, especially today's got quite damp. So sometimes when the weather changes, we then become a little bit stiff and stuck within the joint. So just allow anything to melt away. And then we're going to connect to the breath here. So you can keep the arms down beside you, or you can bring the left hand to the heart and the right hand to the belly. And just feel the rise and fall of the belly. So just checking in with yourself. Are you breathing from the belly first, or are you doing chest breathing? Often we tend to lean towards the chest breathing because we're not very conscious and of how we are breathing and how we connect to the breath. So by focusing on the breath, noticing if you're doing belly breaths or chest breaths, allows us to become more conscious. So we want to focus on deep belly breaths. So using the diaphragm, the main muscle involved in breathing. Feel this expansion, this sense of openness through the body. Imagine you're filling up a balloon. Then you exhale and soften. So we want the breath to come from the belly to the chest rather than short, shallow chest breathing, which is often involved when you're anxious, stressed, not conscious, not present, not connected. Good. So focusing on this breath, there's almost a ripple effect from the belly and then into the chest, and then the chest softens, and then the belly softens. And then just pause and be still in this quietness. Easing any tension through the jaw. Another area we often store tension, especially if you are a warrior, you're feeling quite stressed at the moment, anxious. even if you're not outside of these situations, the current circumstances, this is triggering a lot for people. So being able to sit with however you're feeling, allowing whatever comes up to come up. Good. And then notice what what how the body's feeling emotionally and mentally. So we scan the body physically. So the breath is a really powerful tool to use for the mind, especially when your mind wanders, is chitter chattering, thoughts popping up left, right, and center. Use the breath to bring you back here on your mat. Acknowledging whatever comes up, but not forming any attachment or action. So imagining that every thought that pops up is like a butterfly fluttering by. Okay, so just pause here for a little bit longer. Really find that softness, that space and stillness. Connecting to that breath, deep inhales through the nose, and even deeper exhales through the nose. Good. Then on your next inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch. Find that length and hug the knees in towards the chest. Maybe bring the head up, squeeze yourself into a tiny ball. Good. And then soften everything down. So we're going to come into our Supta Baddha Konasana, our supine bound angle pose. So this is where you can use your blocks or your blankets, or if you've got two cushions, you can use those instead. So we're going to come back down onto our back, bring the soles of the feet together, and allow the knees to open out to the side, and put something supportive underneath your knees. So it could be the blocks, it could be your pillows, your cushions, whatever is there to support you, and then bring the arms down beside you with the palms facing up. And just allow gravity to soften the hips here. So there's no force here, really passive pose as you just find that softness. The shoulders are softening, the neck softening. Good. Breathing here. And having an ever so slight tuck of the chin so the back of the neck is soft. Connect to the breath. So breathe in, allow this sense of rise within the belly. And the exhale softens and surrenders. Come to your stillness. So this is often the most challenging part of the restorative, is the mind and being still and in quiet. We often are dashing around, living in such a crazy, fast-paced world that slowing everything down is challenging. Things come up. Staying here for a little bit longer. Scan the body, the brow, the forehead, mouth, the jaw. Just allow the hips to soften, the glutes are melting. Give yourself permission to let go. Let go physically, mentally, emotionally. Know that this time is for you. Good. 5 more breaths here. Last breath. Good. Slowly guide the knees up to center. Pause here for a couple of breaths. Release the blocks or your props to the side. Good. And then bring the blanket or between the legs. And then your pillow or your bolster to the left-hand side, halfway down the body. You can also use a block here too. Just find whatever's comfortable for you. And then we're going to shift the hips slightly to the right. Allow the knees over to the left. So they're resting on the bolster. Your arms can be down beside you, goal posted, up above. Just find somewhere where you can be totally relaxed and totally at ease here. So often here, personally, I find that my hips and my legs hold on. I hold tension there in these twists during restorative. So we're all different, but just pay particular attention to how the legs are and the hips, the shoulders and the neck. Scanning the body, every joint, every limb, softening. Gently twisting through the spine. Totally restoring our body here, giving something back to ourselves. We often think that we have to be doing high intensity stuff to achieve. We have to be, especially at the moment, learning new things, doing whatever, learning this, learning that, being productive. But actually, this is self-care. This is what we need. Is slowing everything down, just finding time in those quiet times. Just a little bit more time here. Five more breaths. Making sure that we're connecting deeply to our breath. Good. Slowly draw the knees back to center. Keep the blanket in the middle of between the legs, and just pause as we centralize the body. And then take your props to the right hand side, roughly hip height. Shift the hips slightly to the left and allow the legs to rest onto the bolster to the right. Find your stillness. Softening the hips, the legs, the ankles. Know that your body weight is being supported by the mat, by the props. Maybe allow your body to drift off. Just be here a little bit longer. Keep that breath connection. 5 more breaths here. Good. Gently draw the legs back to center, centralizing your body in the middle of the mat. Good. And then roll to one side, release the blanket. We're going to set up for our next pose now. So bringing one of the blocks or the books on the tall setting towards the top of the mat, and then the other one just in front on the medium setting. And we're going to rest the bolster lengthways, so it's at a slight angle. You might need to play around with the positioning of the blocks, the props here. And then we're going to bring our tailbone to the end, allow the body to rest down, the head being supported. The legs are either long, or you could keep a bend in the knees. Good. Turn the palms up towards the ceiling. So we're starting to open through the chest here. Good. Right. Sometimes you need to play around with the prop just to make sure that they're totally secure. Good. So finding this lovely opening through the chest, the palms are facing up, the neck is soft, the eyes are closed. Breathing deeply, so feel this expansion through the belly. Just be. The legs are out long. Bring them a little bit wider than hip width. Just allow the legs to totally soften, so you're not holding on, you're not engaging through the front thighs. You're just allowing yourself to be. Good, just a little bit longer. Connecting to the breath. Being aware of any noises, smells, feelings on the body, on the skin. But just allow them to sit there. So don't label them, don't action them, don't hold on to them. Acknowledge. Maybe you hear the birds singing a beautiful song this evening. Maybe the wind's blowing. Hearing raindrops. Sitting with those sounds. Good. 5 more breaths here. Good. Then bend the knees. Gently roll to one side. Good. So we're going to keep the blocks where they are and the bolster on that angle, but bring the bolster. So, but no, keep the bolster at the angle it's at. You can take the blanket underneath the head again, and what we're going to do is come down onto our backs and rest the legs on the bolster. So we're taking the weight out of the feet. The legs will be roughly hip width distance apart here, but you can still allow the legs to soften and then bring the arms down beside you. You can bring the left hand to the heart, right hand to the belly. Do whatever feels comfortable for your arms here. A really nice way to take the weight out of the legs. Legs supported. Soften here and find your stillness. A little bit longer here. Where can you ease any tension? Surrender, let go, release. Our bodies work so hard, our minds work so hard. So giving something back. Five more breaths here. And then release the legs off of the bolster. Gently roll to one side. And then we're going to come back onto our spine now. Bring the blocks to one side. And we're going to come into our bridge pose. So you don't need the bricks anymore, the blocks. Bringing the bolster underneath the knees. And then we're going to bring the feet roughly hip width distance apart, lift the hips up, and then slide the bolster underneath the sacrum, so the flat part of the back. So really gentle opening through the hip flexors, the quadriceps, the front body. Just allow the body to be here. Close the eyes, melting down. Allow your hips to become heavy onto your props. The shoulders are soft, easing tension from the neck, the jaw. Good. Just a little bit longer here. And bring the knees in towards the chest and then lift the legs up. But we want to keep the knees bent here, soft here through the ankles. Keep the legs slightly further apart and just allow the weight to come out of the feet. Feet do such, and legs do such a tough job of supporting the whole of the body. Our body weight, walking, running, exercising, power yoga, vinyasa yoga. So just allow this weight to come out of the legs. The legs and your feet are weightless. Keep that breath connection. Keep that belly rising with the inhale and softening. So we so want to often keep hold of the belly, draw the belly and keep that activation through the core, but to allow that expansion, that freedom. And slowly Release the legs down, hug the knees in towards the chest. Just pause here for a moment. Good. And then release the feet down and preparing for Shavasana. So really gentle practice this evening, ending in our Shavasana, where you can either roll the bolster underneath the knees, you can take a blanket over you, get yourself as comfortable as you can to really let go of your restorative of your practice. Let the working week drift away, entering the weekend restored, mindful, at ease, and hopefully a sense of calmness. So the legs are roughly hip width distance, starting in the same position, finishing in the same position we started off at. So arms a little bit wider. Maybe bring the hands roughly mats width distance, palms facing up. Allow yourself to drift off. Give yourself permission to surrender. Be here in stillness for the next couple of minutes, giving this time back to yourself. Keep the eyes closed. Easy natural breath in through the nose and out through the nose. Good. Gratitude. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, confusion into clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. It turns problems into gifts, failures into successes, the unexpected into perfect timing, and mistakes into important events. It can turn an existence into a real life, and disconnected situations into important and beneficial lessons. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So I'll leave you here rested on your mats this evening. Please take as long as you would like to in your Shavasana. As always, it's been lovely guiding you through this practice, your restorative practice this evening. Wish you a wonderful evening, a lovely weekend, and hopefully see you on the mat again soon. Namaste.